Welcome to Kaywon Action Star. Watch.
Henry, come.
Hello, Latif.
We were talking about fatwa collections.
I think I should run the story again.
It's fucking gone!
Alice Rhine, a former CIA agent, now works at a London community center, helping locals in a neighborhood troubled by extremist activity. One day, she receives a tip about a group of Egyptian immigrants hiding in an apartment. She shares this intel with MI5 intelligence head Emily Nose, who later confirms they're just students, proving Alice's information incorrect. Despite her quieter life, she is still haunted by memories of a bombing in Paris that pushed her to leave the CIA. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, Latif, a young courier, meets an influential imam, Yazid Khalil. The imam gives him a crucial message to memorize as proof of his identity. However, before he can deliver it, masked men ambush and take him away. At the same time, CIA interrogator Pallister is found dead in a hotel pool, initially believed to be a heart attack. CIA Division Chief Bob Hunter learns that Pallister was supposed to interrogate Latif, believed to be involved in a plot orchestrated by Khalil, targeting an American in the UK. The one set to carry out the attack is David Mercer, an American who turned extremist. Alice meets her former CIA station chief, Eric Lash, at a restaurant. He tries to convince her to return to the field, but she struggles with guilt from the Paris bombing, which killed 24 people. Lash reassures her that she isn't to blame and urges her to move forward. The CIA suspects the attack involves a biological weapon, with Mercer waiting for the final order. They plan to replace Latif with an agent but need to extract his verification phrase first. Since Pallister is dead, they turn to Alice. Reviewing her background, Hunter discusses her past, her rough childhood in foster homes and an incident where she broke a teacher's arm for misconduct. The CIA recruited her due to her high intelligence scores, but failing to prevent the Paris bombing nearly ended her career. Though she later worked undercover for MI5, Hunter believes she's still their best option. While on a bus, Alice is approached by Frank Sutter, who proves his identity with a CIA control code. He orders her to interrogate Latif. Despite her hesitation, she's told the directive comes from the top. She is taken to a black site where Latif is being held. Visibly shaken, Alice immediately demands his hood be removed and cameras turned off to gain his trust. At first, Latif pretends not to understand English, but Alice catches him reacting to her words. She removes his cuffs and hands him a soda, noting that he never asks why he's there, suggesting he already knows. He claims he was just trying to live a peaceful life in Frankfurt, but Alice presents a photo of him with Khalil, linking him to a past bombing. He panics, insisting he can explain. She pressures him further, and he finally admits he was only meant to deliver a message. Latif agrees to cooperate. Alice hands over the message to Sutter, but they need more details to decode it. Before she can provide the final piece, Hunter officially assigns her to the mission, realizing she is in danger. Returning to Latif's cell, she sees Sutter demanding the last piece of information. A man behind her is ready to kill her if she speaks. Thinking quickly, Alice pretends she needs more details from Latif, secretly warning him that they are both targets. He picks up on her cue and plays along. Outside, Sutter's team grows impatient before hearing a commotion. Alice fakes an escape attempt by Latif, creating chaos. She takes down 2 men, grabs their weapons, and fires through a wall to eliminate another. She and Latif fight their way out, but he is shot in the leg. As they try to escape, Latif is hit again, forcing Alice to leave him behind. She takes refuge at Lash's house, revealing she no longer trusts the people she once thought were CIA. Meanwhile, Hunter's team tracks Latif's van and finds its crew dead, intensifying their search. Lash treats Alice's wounds but warns her that Langley will come after her. Suddenly, a hit squad storms the house. Lash is gravely wounded but gives Alice an address to a safe house before dying. She escapes through a window as bullets fly. Meanwhile, Mercer receives the biological weapon. His team assembles it into a detonation device, testing it on rats before concealing it in a toolbox. A nervous courier transports it, but mishaps occur. Local children accidentally enter the lab, exposing themselves to the virus. Alice reaches the designated apartment and catches a burglar trying to steal a TV. Holding him at gunpoint, she removes his mask and restrains him. Searching his belongings, she finds his name, Jack Alcott, a petty criminal. She sneaks into the utility room, reroutes an internet connection, and calls Hunter. Listening in, Jack overhears everything. Alice starts suspecting Sutter knew too much about CIA codes, meaning there's more at play. Just then, a tactical team storms the wrong apartment, giving Alice a chance to escape. She leaves a knife for Jack to free himself and disappears. As authorities close in, Alice hides in a laundry room, fighting off 2 officers before being tasered. Suddenly, Jack reappears, takes out the cops, and helps her escape. Meanwhile, Hunter and Emily argue over Alice slipping through their grasp. Emily suspects she had help and orders a deeper investigation. Jack takes Alice to an abandoned building. After overhearing her call, he realized she was in serious trouble and didn't want to leave her alone. He reveals his military background, 4 tours with the Marines. As Alice prepares to leave, Jack casually pulls a gun, not to threaten her but to offer his skills. He tells her she could use an ally with combat training. Alice hesitates but realizes that at this point, Jack might be the only person she can trust. They decide to track down Unjud, a guy Alice knows from the community center with inside connections at Khalil's mosque. They learn Khalil has a habit of eating at a particular restaurant. With persuasion, they get Unjud to take them there. Meanwhile, Emily and her team trace Latif's phone to a parking lot. At the restaurant, Alice and Jack keep watch as Emily pretends to seek information on Khalil. The owner sneaks outside to message Latif, but Emily's team is already tracking the number. When they find the source, Jack swiftly takes down 2 men. Khalil steps out, and Alice confronts him. She accuses Sutter of kidnapping Latif and suspects Sutter wants to replace Khalil. However, Khalil insists he never ordered attacks and even told Mercer to stand down. Alice is skeptical, but Khalil explains that as an imam, he discourages violence. Alice and Emily continue to monitor Unjud as he prepares to deliver a message to Mercer, posing as Latif. Emily is tense. This is a long shot, but if it works, they can stop the attack before it happens. Alice, however, is skeptical, knowing how deep this conspiracy runs. As they wait, Emily pulls Alice aside and drops a bombshell. Intelligence analysts reviewing the Paris bombing timeline discovered a troubling discrepancy. There was a significant gap between when Alice obtained crucial intel from a prisoner and when the authorities were informed. Emily suggests the horrifying possibility that the CIA may have allowed the bombing to happen deliberately. The reason? One of the victims was a whistleblower planning to expose classified operations. The revelation shakes Alice to her core. She had spent years blaming herself for that attack, believing she had failed in her duty. Now, the idea that it was orchestrated at a higher level makes her blood boil. But there's no time to process it. Unjud is heading to the meeting point, and their window to act is closing fast. Elsewhere, Mercer's team is in motion. A courier discreetly plants weapons and a biological agent in the ventilation system of a packed stadium, where an American football game is about to take place. If detonated, the virus will spread rapidly, causing mass casualties. As Mercer prepares for the final step, Sutter meets with Lash in a hidden location, revealing they've been working together all along. Lash plays a recording of a conversation with the courier, who is starting to have doubts about the attack. But Lash assures Sutter there's a backup plan, one that involves using a more reliable assassin if the courier backs out. Determined to stop the attack, Alice tracks Sutter's location and storms the meeting site. Without hesitation, she shoots Sutter dead, eliminating one of the masterminds behind the operation. She then confronts Lash, gun drawn, demanding to know the final target. Instead of answering, Lash smirks and confesses to a greater betrayal. He had orchestrated everything from the start. He manipulated Alice for years, planting Jack in her path, ensuring she played her role exactly as he wanted. Even worse, he admits he had a hand in the Paris bombing, making her believe it was her failure when, in reality, it was part of a grander scheme. Alice's rage builds, but she doesn't let it cloud her judgment. She subtly ejects the magazine from her gun, ensuring Lash doesn't see it. She raises the weapon and fires, intending to wound him in the leg, but the gun is empty. Lash uses the moment to knock her back and make a run for it. Alice quickly recovers, grabs a nearby car, and chases him down. Meanwhile, in the stadium, Mercer's team activates the bombs, setting a 5-minute countdown. Lash reaches a warehouse, where Wilson, his top assassin, hands him the detonator. He thinks he's safe. He doesn't realize Alice is already there, watching from the shadows. Lash tries to justify his actions, claiming the attack will force the U.S. into a state of emergency, giving the government complete control over its citizens' medical and financial records. To him, this is necessary for national security. Alice isn't buying it. She fires a warning shot, alerting Wilson, and a shootout erupts. Alice manages to wound Wilson, but before she can finish him off, he throws an explosive device at her. The explosion sends Alice flying, leaving her dangling over the edge of a platform. Lash approaches, gloating, ready to finish her off. But Alice, using the last of her strength, wraps her legs around his neck in a chokehold. As he struggles, she grabs the detonator and drags him over the edge with her. Lash falls to his death, while Alice barely manages to climb back up. With seconds to spare, she disables the bombs, preventing mass casualties. As emergency sirens blare in the distance, Hunter calls her, offering a new mission: track down Mercer, who has disappeared. There's no hesitation in Alice's response. She accepts. Meanwhile, Mercer has already fled to Prague, meeting with a contact to arrange his escape. He's cautious but confident. He's survived too much to fall now. As he steps off a tram in a quiet station, something feels off. Before he can react, a shadowy figure moves past him, and a sharp blade slashes his femoral artery. Mercer stumbles, his hands pressing against the wound, but the blood pours too quickly. He collapses onto the cold pavement, gasping for air as his vision fades. In seconds, it's over. His assassin vanishes into the crowd, leaving only the sound of the tram departing in the distance. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel for more beautiful recaps. Put down your comments below to let me know what you think about the turn of events in this storyline. And also give my video a thumbs up to further motivate me. Share too for others to enjoy. Your feedback is needed, but until my next recap, cheers.